Okay, let's get into this. We're doing a deep dive today on a pretty serious machine. The 2025 Ford F-150 Raptor. We've got this article laying it all out, the specs, the tech, everything that makes this truck what it is.
Right, covers a lot of ground.
So our mission here is simple. Cut through all the info, grab the key details you need to know, and really get you dialed into this thing.
Yeah, get to the heart of it.
The source calls it Desert Lightning and King of Terrains. Let's see if it lives up to that.
Okay, so fundamentally, this truck, it's engineered for a specific mix of abilities. The source really stresses it's not just about hardcore off-road stuff.
Yeah.
It's also meant to be, well, surprisingly decent as a daily vehicle, too.
So a bit of a balancing act, then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's combining that, extreme power with some pretty advanced tech to make it all work.
Okay, power. Let's talk about, though, what's actually under the hood. The article mentions options, plural.
Yeah, and that's interesting right off the bat. There's a contrast. The standard Raptor, according to the source, it comes with a high-performance EcoBoost V6.
The 3.5-liter.
That's the one. 3.5-liter twin-turbo. So using exhaust to spool up turbos, force more air in,
Right.
more power.
Right, turbos. And the numbers.
The source puts it at around 422 horsepower
Okay.
and approximately 510 pound-feet of torque, which is, pretty solid for a truck already.
Yeah, that V6 is definitely no slouch. But then there's a Raptor R. That's the one making headlines, right?
Oh, yeah. The source paints a very powerful picture there.
I bet.
The Raptor R steps things up quite a bit. It's got a supercharged 5.2-liter V8.
Supercharged, so belt-driven instant boost.
Exactly. And the source mentions it's kind of inspired by engines like the one in the Mustang GT500.
Oh.
And the numbers definitely reflect that. 720 horsepower.
720?
Yep. And about 640 pound-feet of torque.
That's a whole different ballgame for a pickup.
Man, 720 horsepower in an F-150, that's kind of wild to think about. So how does all that power actually get to the wheels? Transmission, drivetrain, right? The article says it's a 10-speed automatic transmission for both engines.
10 speeds. Okay.
Yeah, which is important for managing that power, keeping shifts smooth, whether you're like crawling over rocks or merging onto the highway. And that's paired with an integrated 4x4 system, naturally. Gives you the control you need for different terrains.
Makes sense. So with all that power, especially the V8, acceleration must be pretty nuts. What does the source say? 0 to 100, top speed.
It gives us those numbers. The V6 Raptor, the 3.5L, does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 5.5 seconds.
Still pretty quick for a big truck.
Definitely. But the Raptor R, with that V8, that does it in just 3.6 seconds.
3.6, that's supercar territory almost.
It's incredibly quick, yeah. Top speeds are listed too. 170 kilometers for the V6 and 185 kilometers for the V8.
Okay, those acceleration figures are just, wow. But there's always a flip side to big power, isn't there? Fuel economy. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, you can probably guess where this is going. The source notes the average fuel consumption is, well, high. Around 14.7 liters per 100 kilometers.
Oof.
It does have a big fuel tank, thankfully 98 liters. You kind of need it with that thirst.
Right.
And the article specifically recommends using high-quality fuel, to make sure those engines perform their best.
Gotcha. Okay, so it likes its fuel, but it's built to tackle tough stuff.
Yeah.
How's the suspension? How does it handle the roof terrain, but also, function as a daily driver like the source suggests?
This is where it gets really specialized. The source puts a lot of emphasis on the suspension, specifically the FOX dual live valve shocks.
Okay, FOX shocks. What makes them special?
Think of them as really smart shock absorbers. They're constantly adjusting. The source explains they kind of balance things out. They keep the ride reasonably comfortable on pavement.
Right.
But the second you hit rough ground or get some air, they instantly react, firming up, providing way more control and damping.
So they adapt on the fly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And the article also mentions chassis improvements that help the overall driving feel even when things get really bumpy.
That adaptive suspension sounds like the secret sauce for its split personality. What about truck stuff? Can it still tow?
Yeah. The source confirms it's still got real towing chops.
Yeah.
Properly set up, it can tow up to approximately 13,500 pounds.
13.5. Wow. So you can still haul your boat or whatever.
Absolutely. It's not just an off-road toy in that sense.
Let's shift gears a bit. From performance to presence, how does it look, feel, design-wise, inside and out?
Well, outside, the source describes it as, undeniably bold, distinctive, calls out that unique grille, the modern LED lighting, says it all screams sporty and aggressive.
Yeah.
It definitely has a look.
Looks like it means business. And inside, Is it all bare bones rugged, or is there some comfort?
The source suggests it's actually a mix of luxury and practicality inside. Uses high-quality materials, the cabin's roomy. Higher trims get mentioned with like luxurious leather trim.
Yeah.
And the seats are apparently designed for really good support.
Which you need, I guess, bouncing around off-road.
Exactly. Keeps you planted. Plus, they offer heating, cooling, power adjustment with memory.
Fancy.
And the source even mentions optional Recaro sports seats if you want that extra snug performance feel.
So you're held in place, surrounded by nice stuff. What about the tech inside? Screens, sound systems, that kind of thing.
Yeah, tech is a big focus, according to the source. Centerpiece is a big 12-inch touchscreen.
12-inch, okay.
Running Ford's SYNC4 system. So you get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the usual connectivity for music, nav, calls.
Standard stuff these days, but good to have.
Right? Source also mentions a premium sound system option, digital displays for the driver instead of old-school gauges, and a whole bunch of driver assistance systems.
Okay, driver aids. We'll circle back to safety in a sec, but first, storage. It's still a truck. Got to be practical, right?
It does. Beyond the bed, obviously, the source notes some clever interior storage ideas.
Like what?
Specifically mentions integrated drawers and cabinets inside the cabin, for keeping smaller gear organized and from flying around.
Useful touch. Okay, let's talk safety now. What does the source say about crash test ratings? Has this thing been tested?
This is interesting, and the source makes an important point here. It mentions safety results, yes. It says NHTSA, that's the U.S. safety agency, gave the general F-150 lineup a 5-star overall rating. That's top marks.
Okay, that's good.
And the IHS, another big testing group, gave the general F-150 a good, rating their best in some key front crash tests.
Right,
and the source is really clear on this. These ratings are for the standard F-150 models. It specifically says they might not cover the Raptor variant itself.
Okay. That's a crucial distinction the source makes. So base truck rates well, but Raptor-specific results aren't listed in the source.
Exactly. That's a key takeaway from the article on ratings.
Got it. So what about the safety systems, the driver aids you mentioned? What's included on the Raptor, according to the source?
It lists a pretty comprehensive suite of ADAS advanced driver assistance systems.
Like?
Things like forward collision warning with automatic emergency braking.
Okay. Standard but essential.
Right. Blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, lane keeping system, adaptive cruise control with stop and go.
So it helps in traffic, too.
Yeah. Also lists intersection assist, a 360-degree camera system, probably very handy on a big truck like this.
Definitely.
Reverse brake assist, and lane keeping assist with driver attention monitoring. So quite a lot of tech watching out for you.
Seems pretty packed with safety tech. Now the big question. How does this king of terrains compare to its rivals? What does the source say?
Okay, the source lines it up against a few key competitors. First one is the Ram 1500 TRX 2025.
The big dog from Ram.
Yeah. Source notes its powerful 702 horsepower, 6.2-liter supercharged V8, 650 pound-feet of torque, 0-100 in 4.5 seconds.
Strong contender.
But, and this is significant, the source points out that production of the TRX, a limited final edition, has actually stopped.
Oh, really? So the TRX is kind of bowing out.
Seems like it, based on this source.
Yeah.
That definitely shifts the landscape.
Interesting. Who else is on the list?
The Chevrolet Silverado ZR2 2025 is mentioned.
Okay, the Chevy entry?
Source says it has engine options, a 6.2-liter V8 with 420 HP, 460 pound-feet, or a 3.0L diesel turbo with 305 HP, 495 pound-feet.
Diesel option. Interesting.
Yeah, and it highlights its off-road gear, 33-inch tires, advanced suspension, skid plates, that sort of thing.
Right. Any others?
Then there's the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro 2025.
Toyota's contender.
Source describes its powertrain as a hybrid, a 3.4L twin-turbo V6 system. Total output, 437 HP and 583 pounder.
Hybrid power. Okay. How quick?
0-100 kilometers in 5.7 seconds. And the source notes it has good off-road capability, too, with specific suspension and tires.
Gotcha. And one more.
Lastly, it mentions the Ram 1500 RHO 2025. This one's presented as like a more efficient alternative to the TRX. Uses a 3.0L twin-turbo V6.
So Ram isn't totally out of the high-performance game, just shifting, maybe?
Seems like it. So if you look at the whole picture the source paints.
Yeah.
The Raptor, especially that Raptor R with its 720 horsepower V8, it really sits at the top of this specific group in terms of sheer raw power output mentioned in the article, especially with the TRX apparently ending its run.
So for pure power bragging rights among these rivals in the source, the Raptor R seems to be wearing the crown now. Makes sense. Are there different versions of the Raptor itself? Trims?
Yes. The source breaks it down into two main versions. You've got the standard Raptor.
The V6 one we talked about.
Exactly. Powerful V6,
Yeah.
advanced suspension, big off-road tires, already a very capable machine. Then you have the Raptor R. That's the ultimate one. Gets that monster V8.
Right.
Further upgraded suspension bits, a more aggressive look on the outside, and a plusher interior, often with special leather and stitching details mentioned.
Okay, so R is the more is more version. Got it. And just physically, how big is this truck? Dimensions. And where's it built?
The source gives the numbers. Length is 232.6 inches. Width, without mirrors, is 86.6 inches. Height is 79.8 inches.
So pretty substantial.
Oh, yeah. Wheelbase is 145.4 inches. Ground clearance is a healthy 12.0 inches, good for off-roading.
And weight?
Curb weight is listed at 5,710 pounds. As for where it comes from, source says it's built at the Dearborn Truck Plant. Dearborn, Michigan, USA.
Made in Michigan. Okay. We've hit a lot of the highlights, but sources often give a balanced view. What does this article list as the main pros and cons? Let's start with the good stuff.
Okay, pros, according to the source. Those powerful engine choices, V6 and V8, the advanced 10-speed auto transmission, the integrated 4x4 system, is that highly capable suspension with the FOX shocks.
Right, the key feature.
The big list of driver assistance systems we went through. The luxurious and roomy interior, that big 12-inch SYNC4 screen with all the connectivity.
Yeah.
Practical storage, both the bed and the clever bits inside, and that high towing capacity we mentioned.
Okay, that's a pretty compelling list of advantages. What about the downsides, the cons highlighted in the article?
The source is pretty straightforward here, too. Number one is the high fuel consumption, city and highway.
No surprise there.
Right. Also, the performance of those big, knobby off-road tires on regular pavement is noted as a potential negative, maybe less grip, different handling feel compared to street tires. The high price obviously is listed as a major con.
Yeah, we need to talk price.
We will. Also, the source suggests highway ride comfort might not be perfect for everyone as a daily driver, because that suspension is really tuned for off-road extremes.
So a potential trade-off in comfort for capability.
Could be, yeah. And finally, it notes that some people might find some of the driver aid alerts, like lane departure warnings or blind spot alerts a bit, maybe annoying or overly sensitive in normal day-to-day driving.
Okay. So that price, you mentioned it's a con. What kind of ballpark are we talking about based on the source?
The source gives a range in U.S. dollars. Starts around $81,000.
Okay, starting price.
And can go up to about $112,725. Depends heavily on whether it's the standard Raptor or the R and what options you add.
$81,000 to over $112,000.
Wow. Yeah, it's serious money. The source also listed some prices for countries in the Middle East: UAE, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Jordan.
Okay.
And, interestingly, noted it wasn't listed as available for sale in Saudi Arabia or Egypt in their data.
Good regional context from the source. Now, the article also had a kind of FAQ section at the end addressing common questions. Let's quickly run through those based on what the source says. First, is there actually a 2025 Raptor?
Yes, the source confirms there is a 2025 model.
And ordering. When can people get one?
Article says ordering is through official Ford dealers, presumably whenever Ford officially opens the books for that model year.
Okay. And the source asks itself, what are the cons? What's the quick summary it gives?
Basically repeats what we discussed: high fuel use, the on-road behavior of the off-road tires, and that high purchase price.
And why is it so expensive? What's the source's justification?
It points to the superior performance, all the advanced technology packed in, and the higher quality, more luxurious materials used inside compared to, say, a standard F-150.
Makes sense. Does it need premium fuel?
Yes. Source clearly recommends using high-quality fuel for best performance.
And reliability. Is it generally seen as reliable?
The source suggests that, yes, it's generally considered reliable, but stresses the importance of regular, proper maintenance, especially for a high-performance off-road truck like this.
Right. Got to take care of it. And last one from the FAQs, manual transmission. Any chance?
No. Source is definite on this. It's only the 10-speed automatic, no manual gearbox option.
Okay, wow. That really was a deep dive into the 2025 F-150 Raptor, pulling everything from this article. We've covered the insane power, the sophisticated tech for off-roading and driving, that kind of dual personality it aims for, how it stacks up against competitors, the pros, the cons, the price. It's clear this isn't your average truck. It's targeting a very specific buyer.
It absolutely is a very specialized piece of equipment. And considering what it's built for, that peak off-road ability, mixed with trying to be usable and even luxurious day to day. Maybe here's something for you, the listener, to think about.
When you look at a vehicle that pushes limits like this, how do you weigh those compromises? The source mentioned things like maybe a firmer highway ride or that fuel economy against its unique strengths. You know, the massive power, the incredible off-road capability, that aggressive look. Where do your own priorities fall when you consider a machine like the Raptor?